Well, good evening and welcome to the West Ham Network and a special review of 2021. I've been deliberating whether I should do this or not, and I thought, you know what, why not? It's been such a fantastic season that there's no reason why we shouldn't be celebrating and looking back a little bit on 2021 to see what sort of season we've had, because we tend to forget, don't we, when a season starts and finishes and we move on to the next season and a whole load of things happen, etc. Just checking that I can hear myself. When the season starts and ends and a whole load of things happen, you kind of tend to forget just how good things are. And of course, I know it's been a bit of a drab December, and a lot of people started to sort of like get a bit tetchy and a little bit sort of concerned. And I've even heard things like, maybe we should get rid of David Moyes, and stuff like that. But you've got to cast your mind back and just remember just how good 2021 has been. Now, look, I'm going to go back a little bit further than 2021 in order for you to sort of put in perspective just what it's like to be a West Ham fan of 2021, or what it's like to have been a West Ham fan on 21. And I'm going to ask the question, and I've got a couple of guests that are going to come on throughout the show, and I'm going to ask them the same question. They're going to give me a highlight of what what they've seen as the main thing of 2021. Then I'm going to ask them, have we progressed, and what do you expect for the future? But they're all going to get 10-minute slots, if that, because we've got an awful lot of people coming on, and I don't want you going into midnight. Sounds like my mic isn't connected again, so I'm gonna. Oh dear! You know what? I'm checking it, and it is definitely saying it's okay. But tell me if that's any better, Russ. No. Okay. Then how about if I do? Well, let's go back to that, because it is the mic I've got. Yeah. Thank you. So let me try. How's that? Is that any better? Yes? Okay, cool. All right. I've got the settings wrong somewhere, somehow. So anyway, forgive me. So I'm talking, going back again. The season has been a great season. I know we've had a bit of a drab December, which kind of brought things down a little bit, and people were beginning to question, how good is David Moyes, etc., and have we really progressed? But the guests are going to come on. They're going to give me their highlights, and I'm going to take you through some stats and some highlights that I believe have been the mainstay of 2021, just to see what that I believe we've certainly progressed, and I hope that you agree. So I'm going to bring one guest on first of all, because it kind of covers what West Ham is all about, the whole West Ham community, the whole ethos about the West Ham family, etc. And it's a great pleasure, because I haven't seen him for a while, home games, etc. I haven't been able to go, or to the supporters club and so on, so I've not seen him for a while. So good evening to you, John. How are you, mate?
Good evening, Stel. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, really good. Hope you are too.
I'm very well. Just got over COVID, unfortunately.
So, yeah.
But it was no worse than a cold, mate. No worse than a cold. So quite glad it wasn't any. I didn't catch the full thing like some people have. John, it's a great pleasure to have you on as usual, and you're going to talk to us about something that we know is very special to your heart. And we've tried to support it as best we can. We've not been that great with you, mate. And let's hope 2022 is even better. Talk to us about Iron supporting food banks and what 2021 has meant for them.
Yeah, thanks, Stel. It's great to get a few minutes just to chat about what we've done. But I'm just so glad that from August we were able to get back on site and get to the home matches and start collecting again and support Newham Food Bank. That's what it's all about. And we've just had a few days ago our second anniversary. So much has happened, so much has changed since December 2019. but the bulk of that time we haven't even been around. But it's been so different to get back this season in August. And what I want to pinpoint is the change and the increase in support from the fan base now, and not just those going along to games, but also we see donations which are made to the Just Giving page and so on, so that we can support Newham Food Bank and other local groups as well in the Newham area as best we can. There was one particular game for me that really stands out, and that was really my moment for the food bank, and that was the game when we played Liverpool in November. And a few weeks before, we'd been contacted by the sixth formers at Riverside School in Barking, and they said basically to us, look, we're entering into a competition that's run by First Give, which encourages schools to become active in the local community. And there's a first prize of £1,000, which we would like to bid for and donate it to you. So I was thrilled to bits that we had the support that they'd in fact chosen us, and we had a few Zoom calls together. And then I said to them, look, at first hand, come and see us, see what we do at a game. And the next one was the Liverpool game. So 5 or 6 of the volunteers turned up, and they donned the high-vis jackets, shook buckets, and collected, I mean, the best part of almost £800, which is 3 or 4 times more than what we would normally get on a match day. They were so active, so lively, and so supportive, and they were thrilled to spend a couple of hours with us, shaking buckets and doing so well. So this formed part of the project that they did with First Give, and then a couple of weeks back, they phoned me up and said, we've won the £1,000 prize, so that's going to you, which has now gone on to Newham Food Bank, because we're not a registered charity, so that those funds have gone directly to them. But it's great to get the support of these sixth formers. You know, these are fine young adults who are really going to do well in their community. They're socially minded. They were so supportive. They did other projects in the school as well. They ran a food bank collection point in the school. I went out there a couple of weeks ago and picked everything up. 2 big trolleyfuls of items which the pupils had collected and donated. So all in all, we've got the best part of £2,000, which we've raised through their efforts. And what we've done is we've partnered up with a charity supplier called His Church, which it's a little bit like a fair share. They run the same sort of thing, but basically you send them £400 and a list of what you need, and they will deliver to you a pallet that's worth up to £2,000. Wow. So we've converted that £2,000 to £10,000 worth of food now over the last couple of months, which is going into Newham Food Bank, and that's all come from the fan base and the interest and the support we've had on the doorstep. So that's gone a long way, and that's really given us a boost now with supporting Newham Food Bank. So that was the big issue for me, and that was a success that I'm glad to see the kids support us that way, and they're going to feel so good about what they've done.
And it's great having kids involved. It gives them a sense of perspective, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so they were great kids on the day.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, the club itself has been getting involved as well. It's you know, they've had you as a guest on the sidelines, before games and so on. I mean, what was that like? What's the club been like? Because the owners get much maligned at times, and fans are have their opinions of the owners. But when it comes to charities and stuff, they're good to you, aren't they?
I couldn't knock them at all. They're very supportive, particularly David Sullivan, who it's no secret that he's donated £40,000 or £50,000 to Newham Food Bank, including the van which he purchased for them. We've had donations also from Declan, from Mark Noble also. Last year they had a whip round, a training one time, and collected a few grand in loose change.
I was just about to say it's loose change for them.
Yeah, they kind of split it between 4 charities, But yeah, we had a few grand that came our way, or to Newham Food Bank anyway. So yeah, the club give us all the publicity that we need. They're very, very supportive. But for us, it's down to the 60,000 fans who come to the stadium every fortnight. And as we've said so often, one tin donated means that one child will go to bed, or one child fewer will go to bed hungry that night, and that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all
Yeah.
about. Absolutely. What are the plans for 2022, John? What activities and plans have you got coming up?
We'll carry on. We'll be looking to be at home games between 2 and 3 hours before kickoff. And now we've got this set up with his church. It means that if we can collect, say, roughly £400 in cash a month between a couple of home games, that then buys us £2,000 worth a month, which we hope is going to see us collect another £10,000 worth of food for Newham Food Bank by the end of the season. And so over the whole of the season, it's probably £20,000 to £30,000 worth of food that the fan base has now donated to Newham Food Bank. And that's that, when you think where we started 2 years ago from zero to get to where we are now, it's fantastic. And it just shows what our fans are like, so supportive, so considerate for local activities in Newham, and helping those who are less fortunate.
Fantastic. Well, John, it'd be good to see you soon. I thought I might have seen you at the last away game, but I don't know if you went. Did you go? You normally go to all the games.
It's hard for me to get tickets for the London away games, but I did see you at Arsenal, remember, a couple of weeks back.
Yes, you did. Well, we had those rather lively fans around us, didn't we?
We did, and just above us as well in that upper area.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, but John, happy New Year to you, by the way. I forgot to mention that. People, you know where Ryan Supporting Food Banks is. Just go to Just Giving and look for their page and do support them. It's not just about, you don't have to just give cash. You can donate actual food, to the food banks, etc. So, and John's always at the same spots on the way into the stadium. So I can never remember. It is the dome, isn't it? The swimming pool, whatever you call it.
Oh, the aquatic centre.
That's the one.
Yeah, just by there.
Russ is shaking his head in the background there, but forget Russ. John, much appreciated. Thank you very much. If you like this, we'll have you back on again soon, and we'll get something sorted for Easter, because that'll be the next big shift, wouldn't it?
Great. We'll do an Easter egg promotion as well for the kids. I'm still waiting for a final total of how many chocolate treats we were able to give out. It'll be a few thousand, but I'm still waiting for final confirmation on that. So that's with lots of support that we've had from the fan base, and David Sullivan as well. He supports us for that, likes to do things for the kids. And going on again, just into 2022, we'll support the local homeless. We've got good links now with Caritas Hanker House. We'll be supplying them with a whole load of new outerwear and sweatshirts that they've asked for, and new clothing as well that we've got regular access to and that we get down to London. So Ark in the Park, and a few of the church food banks as well in Newham that we support. So we'll carry on doing that into the year.
Fantastic. John, much appreciated, mate. Good to see you again, and we'll chat very soon. Cheers. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
See you soon. Thanks.
Thank you for that. So let's go into the season. I've got young Jake. Jake, how long before you have to go to bed? Just give me a half hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes in 30 seconds. Come on quickly, because I'm not keeping you on now. How long before you go?
About 20 minutes. Is that right? Half hour?
20 minutes. I'll come to you as soon as I can. And I've got, they're all queuing up behind. So I'm going to get into the show. So let's cast our mind back. I said, in order to give us some perspective as to how good the Moyes era has been, I'm going to cast your minds back to the last game of the 2019 year. We played Leicester City. Now, I know it's some time ago, but bear with me. And it was a game that we lost 2-1. And that meant the end of Manuel Pellegrini's era at West Ham United. When we finished that game, we were 17th in the Premier League with just 19 points and a goal difference of -11. Bear that in mind. Okay. Now, David Moyes came in. Let's just go back to Pellegrini, for example. Under the whole of the 2019, under Pellegrini, we played 37 games. We won 12. We drew 8. We lost 17. And we had 44 points. David Moyes came in 2020 to stable the ship. Now, you look at those stats there and you go, hang on a minute. Not a lot of difference between Pellegrini's 2019 and David Moyes' 2020. But the one thing that he did was, despite playing the same number of games, winning the same number, similar number, and so on, and similar number of points, the one main difference between the two was our goal difference of -11 was down to 0 by the end of the calendar year. This isn't the season year, but it's the calendar year. Now let's move forward to another year. In the whole of 2021 under David Moyes, we've played 41 games. We've won 22, drawn 7, lost 12. Look at that points tally, 73 points, almost double. Goal scored 73, and the goal difference, remember, under Pellegrini, -11 to a +23. I mean, I don't even have to go on any further by asking the question, have we improved under Moyes? Those stats themselves say just about everything you need to know. And that's all with a makeshift goal scorer, a makeshift striker in Mikel Antonio. I know that rubs people up the wrong way. I know that rubs people up the wrong way, but let's be honest, he is still a makeshift striker, despite wearing the number 9 shirt. There are only 4 teams in the league in 2021 that won more games than us in that year. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal. And I guess it's no surprise that they're all above us in the league at the moment. So 2021 started with a little bit more hope. What David Moyes did in over 2020 was to try and stabilize the defense. And when we went with our first game this time last year against Everton, look at that lineup. Not a lot of difference between what's out at the moment and what was out back then. The only difference, Randolph was in goal for the then injured Fabianski, and there was a young lad up front who wasn't very good. I can't remember his name. He's gone off to Ajax now. He's not that good anyway. We didn't need him, so we got rid of him. But look at that. I mean, seriously, in all seriousness, the lineup wasn't that much different. Cresswell, Ogbonna, Dawson, etc., etc. So in 2021, David Moyes started with the team that he more or less finished with, given our injuries, etc. This year. Now, Sebastian Haller left, and of course, we brought in Jesse Lingard. And Lingard, he hit the ground running. Now, I'm hoping Luke is in the background because I'm meant to be bringing him in. But what I'm going to do, he is in the background. So I'm going to bring in my second guest tonight because for him, the highlight of 2021 was this player, Jesse Lingard. So let's have a quick chat with Luke. How you doing, mate?
I was right eating some naan bread right now.
You're eating some naan bread. You're lucky I haven't even eaten.
You caught me off guard there, mate. I'm sitting patiently in the background, and the one time you bring me in is the one time I'm not ready. But yeah, okay, I'm cool. I'm good.
Tell us why Jesse Lingard was the highlight of your 2021.
It was between this and the Lanzini goal against Tottenham, which I said to you at the time.
Nigel reminded you was the year before.
Yeah, exactly. Which says everything about me as a fan in my memory. I think it's because the irony of the fact that when we were linked with him, a lot of us pushed down. A lot of fans, they didn't want him. They were like, "Oh, this waste stuff from Man United who's washed up. He's a bit of a Pogba. He likes to care more about what he looks like on Instagram rather than what he looks like on a pitch and stuff like that." Fair enough. That's the impression you get off him. But then when you realise when he actually signed for West Ham, the reasons why he was going through what he was going through at Man United, and when he played against Villa, there was when we had Payet at West Ham, you could tell instantly about how good he was because of little things like his first touch and just where he puts the ball and how quick his work rate is and stuff like that. Now, when Lingard, I think Ben Rama was struggling a little bit when he first signed at West Ham. He wasn't really getting the game time, wasn't really getting under the ball under his feet and stuff like that. And against Aston Villa, which was Lingard's debut, both of them two linked up very well. And suddenly you thought, not only does Lingard look good, he's making Benrahma look good as well. And you could tell his impact around the whole team was infectious. And we were playing like doubly as quick. You know, the whole pace of the team had upped it. And I just think overall, I think we had a player that, again, in my opinion, was world class. When he was West Ham, he was beyond world class. In fact, I think that's one of the main reasons why we finished where we did last season. And it was, for me, mainly just the fact that it was like, well, you can judge a book by its cover. You can say they're this sort of person, that sort of person. Don't really care about their career anymore. But as it's come out, you know, he's going through a lot family-wise and stuff like that. And since he's come out in his interview afterwards, saying how much Noble sort of got his head down a little bit, and the whole club, the whole ethos changed it around. And I have nothing against him personally. The staying at Man United thing, I think there's a lot of things that people aren't being told. People can say as much as they want, saying, "Oh, I'm going back to West Ham, I'm at Man United now." I guarantee you, behind closed doors, there's a lot of things going around that we don't know. And the problem is people hear reports and they hear, clickbait articles, and they read this and they read that, and they believe everything that they hear the moment they hear it, rather than just taking a step back and going, no one knows. No, the only people that people that know are Lingard, Man United, and David Moyes and West Ham, and that's it.
What do you make of this comment that's, from being, forget Lingard, confused in the head, he won't be that good the second time round? Do you think he'll be able to come back in and do as good as he's done for us last year?
Do you know what? I actually believe he might be confused in the head. To be fair, I think mental health is being highlighted a lot recently over the last few years, and the way he was talking about with his mum and everything like that. It's no doubt he probably is still going through, was going through mental health and everything like that, which is obviously a shame. Hopefully he gets help with that if he's going through it. But I think if he did come back to West Ham, it would be in totally different conditions. I think the way he said that Noble changed him around, like don't put the doesn't use his phone, he was getting in amongst with the lads, it probably sort of sparked a little light bulb in his head, going, hold on, this is my chance to get my career back on track. And he's gone back to Man United, and he thought, well, he probably thought he'd get a bit more game time. He probably thought it would go a bit better than it has done, to be fair. And I think maybe he feels a little bit mugged off. But then again, he's a Manchester boy. He's been there since he was a kid. That's all he knows is Man United. He's spent 6 months in England, in London with us. That's it. Apart from that, he's a Man United boy. But I think if he did sign for West Ham, it would be a permanent deal, and it would maybe go, right, I'm here now. This is my club for the foreseeable future. I'm going to get my head down. I'm going to stay in the England squad, because I don't think he's going to walk into that very easily now with like a game type Man United. I think for the type of player he is, we've seen his ability. There's no way you turn that ability off. And we've seen it when he plays for Man United this season. Scored a fantastic winner against us at London Stadium. He hasn't particularly looked out of place while he's been there. But I think he would have a better impact, to be honest with you, because like I said before, last season was kind of a bit of a shock, and you can see how much our standards have gone up. And we've had a bad December. We lost a few games because probably in my opinion, Antonio was out, and we were lacking that final ball, that cutting edge. And if you had someone like Lingard playing, I guarantee Burnley away would have won that 1-0. Lingard winner.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are saying the same thing, and it's quite interesting now that we are coming up to the transfer window. I know December's been a bit of a damp squid, really, in terms of our performances and so on, and yet it seems that our front players are finally beginning to click again.
Yeah,
I mean, the way we played over the last couple of games against Watford and away to Crystal Palace on New Year's Day, all of a sudden we're beginning to click, and you can just imagine Lingard coming back into a team like that, who is beginning to regain its confidence.
Yeah,
would just take us that step up. And people are going, well, who's he going to replace and so on. Last year, Benrahma was still finding his feet. A couple of players were still finding their feet. We've got, Benrahma's now off to the AFCON. Antonio may be gone, with Jamaica. For a number, they've got a number of qualifiers. If you get selected for Jamaica, etc., you're likely to have a couple of players missing. So you could see quite easily how Lingard or Lingard himself, because we still don't know. You're absolutely right.
No.
You can see how he could easily fit back into this team straight away.
I don't really understand. I mean, I get people are saying who are you going for now because our midfield seems so structured. It's so after the last 2 games, it seems on form. There's no way anyone can take him on place in the midfield. But aside from that, people also moan that we haven't got enough players in the squad. That we need to go out and buy a striker. We need to go out and buy this. We need to go and buy a defender. We need to go out and buy a winger, stuff like that. So, or we're going to just spend the whole January on the defenders because fair enough, we do need defenders with Zuma and Ogbonna being out and Cresswell as well. But at the same time, are you really going to turn down players like, Lingard's ilk because they can't get in over Lanzini, they can't get in over Benrahma, they can't get in over Bowen?
But isn't this what we want?
You need competition. You need.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And if we have that competition, it improves other players around you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now that we've got Benrahma, I mean, Benrahma was, he was great the last couple of games. Lanzini was as well. It's great to have. We need that rotation. People talk about. I get confused sometimes because people talk about our squad's not big enough, and yet we don't want to go out and get players to compete with our first team players, which kind of contradicts itself in a way. So you want that competition, don't you? And Lingard, I'm going to sort of mention him a couple of times throughout the show because he's been the star of 2021 for us. He took us to another level, didn't he? Because
he did.
When we started last year in 10th place, and then we quickly in rapid succession with Lingard coming in, etc. We were already by the end of January we were up to something like 5th or 6th place in the league. That's how rapidly. I'm not saying it was just Lingard. No, it wasn't just Lingard, but he certainly contributed towards that success, didn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I think you could tell that he was well class from his first game, so there's going to be some sort of injection there somewhere, some sort of momentum going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What do you hope for 2022, Luke? As a fan, because I keep asking fans, what do they believe is meant to be the next step? Because especially when we were having a really bad December, we were being told, Pellegrini is never going to take us to the next level. What's next level for you?
The Champions League. You got to say Champions. It's a sustainable standard. Top 4's got to be where we head to, because in my opinion, if you really want to progress, you've got to progress every year on where you finished up the previous year, season and stuff like that. But I've had conversations with people over the last few months about this, being that we were in 4 competitions. It was like, well, would you rather win this and then get knocked out of here, and then would you rather do that instead of winning a trophy and stuff like that? I'm thinking, for me, I don't like it when people put down cups. I like to win a cup. Europa League. People saying, "Oh, you want to win the Europa League because you want to get automatic qualifications to the Champions League." I think, well, yeah, but I also want to win the Europa League. I want a trophy in our cabinet. I want to say we've won a European trophy of some sort, not just because we can qualify for the Champions League, but that would be the next phase. I think, in my opinion, there's an old school. There's a bridge between old generation and new generation, and there's a generation that will do anything to win the FA Cup or the League Cup. Maybe it's like, but the FA Cup is an absolute must. It brings back memories of the 80s, and it's great. I'm not putting that down at all. But there's also another generation which is like Champions League is everything, Premier League is everything. Forget the cups. It's all about the Champions League and the league. And I think if you ask most fans, there's a certain fan who wants a cup, and there's a certain fan who wants to see us go away to Real Madrid. In the Champions League quarterfinals, whether we win or lose. And I think David Moyes has somehow got both of those generations together, because with a small squad, you wouldn't expect him to be going, gung ho in the League Cup like he has been. I know we've got a small squad and stuff like that, but he's been playing quite good teams against Man United away, against Man City at home, and then unfortunately losing to Spurs like we did. But still, for the cards as well, you're thinking, I think he's got something here where he knows that there's going to be a certain amount of fans that want to win the FA Cup, and there's a certain amount of fans who want to finish in the top 4. Whether we can do both. Would
you say, because for me, when I sort of thought about the question, I thought to myself, well, if we go another 2 or 3 seasons finishing in the top 6 and not just quite achieving Champions League, isn't that progress for West Ham? The fact that we won't be yo-yoing. You know, because I get what people say about Champions League, but even if we stabilise ourselves and become a regular top six club, of course it'd be great to hit Champions League. But isn't that progress considering what we've gone through over the years? Up, down, etc.
It is for the club. For the club, it is 100%. We used to fight relegation battles and finishing mid-table here and that, but we've reached a new demographic now. And as much as it might be good news for our club long term, you know, more money coming in, we can buy the players like Souček and Sufal and Bowen and bring them more in. But like I've said to many people, we've got a player like Declan Rice on our hands, who, in my opinion, is minimum £100 million rated player. If there's any non-West Ham fans watching this who are crying with laughter now at my assessment of that, I don't care. That's how much I rate him. If we don't finish top four, players like that are going to go. You know, Souček last season was seen as being linked to Bayern Munich because he was, you know, scoring loads of goals. He was playing a different role than he is now. I think this season that's a whole different that's a different video. It's been done already and stuff like that. But players like that ilk were being looked at by the top clubs. Now, for West Ham, it'd be fantastic to be in the Europa League every season and doing as well as that is, and you know that puts West Ham on a completely different pedestal. But at the same time, it can actually be a victim of your own success because, you know, Rice is getting caught by the likes of Chelsea, Man City. He's not going to stick around if no matter how much he loves the club and whatever. Suddenly they go, oh, look, West Ham are on the Europa League. Here you go. Here's 80 million. Here's 100 million. We'll have Declan Rice off. Your lovely job. Nice one. And that's it. And he's gone. If we were in the Champions League and he's the captain and you say to him, look, Declan, I know you want to go, but we are in the Champions League. We're on top four. He's going to go, yeah, do you know what? Might need me for one season, but I'll stay for that one season. And that one season matters massively. So for me, for the club, top six is fantastic, absolutely amazing, brilliant. I'm in a dream world. You know, every game that we're in that success story. But we've just got to be careful that if we're not at that level, the players are not going to go. They're not going to get bored of being in the Europa League because some of them will. And players like Declan Rice, no matter how much he loves the club, he's going to think about his career at some point. And unfortunately, we might be left behind in the dust, which hopefully doesn't work out. But good for us, not for some other things. If you get what I mean.
Look, I'm going to have to let you go now because I've got to bring Jake on.
No worries.
Thank you for that. Much appreciated. And we'll chat again later.
Yeah, top man. Right, everyone in the chat, nice one. Up the irons. Let's have you.
Jake, I'm jumping gun. You know, in order, I'm moving my schedule around purely for you, Jake. Purely for you, because you're the star of the show. Well, that's all right, Jake. You know, I am a nice guy. I was going to talk about what your highlight of 2021 is slightly later because it kind of comes later. But I know you can't stay on for too long. So tell us what your highlight of 2021 is and why.
Yeah, you know, I could have easily gone for the Liverpool win, the Chelsea win, but you know, I like to be different, say something different that's not quite obvious. I've gone for the signing of Kurt Zouma. Yes, he's injured at the moment, but he's in the few years to come, he's going to be very influential. And you know, when you pay £30 million for a player who's got Premier League experience, 9 times out of 10. You're gonna get somebody who's very, very good and is the business, and I think that's what Kurt Zouma is. I mean, he's played 11 games for West Ham, I think something like that, and he scored a goal.
There we go.
He's
played 13 times. Average stats there per game: 0.6 tackles, 1 point, whatever it means to people, 5.2 clearances, and so on.
Yeah, and he scored a very important goal in there as well. I believe that was the third against Liverpool, the header on the back post. I think that was his goal, a very important goal that's got us those 3 points against Liverpool. But he helps whoever he's partnered with as well. Obviously, we've been very unfortunate losing our two starting centre backs, Bonner and Zouma. But even when you put Zouma next to Diop or Dawson, it makes them better, especially I think it's a Diop as well. I don't think Dawson helps Diop in play because he's not that commanding kind of, you know, he is experienced, Craig Dawson, but you know, Zuma's on another level, and you know, when Diop plays with Zouma, we've seen it in the Europa League, it brings the best out of Diop as well. And I think Zuma's been excellent when he's come in, and hopefully they're saying he's ahead of schedule, having back by the end of the month, and yeah, but I think he's influential for us going forward.
You heard what Luke said with regards to sort of keeping hold of our better players.
Yeah.
Even if we, I mean, okay, I'll ask you the same question. What I think it's obvious, but I want people to tell me: have we progressed under Moyes over the past year?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of guaranteed on that. In terms of moving forward, then to keep the likes of Declan will see the likes of Zuma coming in. And he will consider, Zuma is a top class footballer. He'll look around him, and there are top class. Bone is becoming, he should be an England cap by now, and stuff like that. What Luke said, about what he hopes for moving forward, Champions League. Do you see it in the same way in order to keep the likes of Declan, or is consistency much more important to keep hold of someone like Declan for maybe the next season or two?
I mean, I'd like to say the consistency, consistently getting into the Europa League, having a cup run every season. But I think if we're gonna keep hold of Declan Rice, I think we need to break into that Champions League in the next 2 years to keep hold of Declan Rice. And at times over the last month, I mean, you said it when you were at Spurs, it almost said we lost that game, and not that he was waving goodbye, but almost as if he was gutted. And of course he's going to be gutted, but in these games, you see the look in it, and it's just a look we don't want to see on a player like Declan Rice. Declan Rice is one of our most valuable players, probably the most valuable player I've seen in a West Ham shirt, in my opinion, in my lifetime. Sure, I know, but I think, it's got to be breaking through to this Champions League. I don't see us getting in the top 4, so the only other option is to win the Europa League, which I do think if we get Zuma back, we get a couple of signings, get a bit more squad depth in the areas that we need. I mean, we sung it yesterday, Stel, Barcelona, we're coming for you.
Yes, were you there yesterday?
I was.
Oh, you were? Yeah, I was there, but trying to find anyone. I reckon there was probably double the number of West Ham fans in the away end yesterday.
Yeah. Because
we got down to our seats and there were about 8 guys standing there, and I went, and they were, "Where do you want to go, mate?" In my seat, if you don't mind, please, sir.
Yeah, we were like
quite nice.
Yeah, we were like 10 rows from the back in the top tier bit, and there were people everywhere, and there was like 4 people in like 2 seated areas, and then just in the row in front there's like two empty seats. Just logic, just go to the
There you go, Jake, thank you very much. Short and sweet. Where are we going to finish this season, Jake?
It's gonna be top 6. It's not gonna be top 4. It's in between that 5th and 6th. I think it'll be 6th. I think I would be happy now if we got to the death of the Europa League and we finish 6th. I think if we get into the quarter-final, semi-final, final kind of area of the Europa League and we finish 6th, I'll be happy. And an FA Cup run wouldn't hurt as well.
It wouldn't hurt. We're going to win the Europa League on the day of my birthday anyway, so there you go.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. Jake, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Cheers,
Catch you soon. Right, now we're going to just run through a few more things, sort of trying to be chronological in order. So we've talked about the beginning of January, and we went on to, in January itself, with the aid of Jesse Lingard, he hit the ground running, as soon as he came into the club, he started scoring almost straight away. And we had a pretty good January. We beat Aston Villa 3-1. We went on to win 4 of our 5 Premier League games that month, with the only downside being a 3-1 defeat to Liverpool. By the end of January, we jumped from the 10th place at the beginning of the year up to 5th place, above Arsenal, above Spurs, above Chelsea, and it was all looking pretty well. February started off just as well, with 3 wins and a draw, and again a defeat only in the last game of the month, again to one of these so-called big teams, Man City. But the highlight of that month was, of course, and someone's already alluded to it, it's always a highlight when you beat Spurs, isn't it? The highlight of that month was the 2-1 win against February when they did the bandstand thing on the pitch afterwards. Now, the only defeat of that month saw us slightly slip to 6th place, but March saw us win and draw a game. And the only disappointment in that month was the 3-3 draw against Arsenal. We let a 3-point lead slip, which was a little bit disappointing, but there you go. April was a very odd month. 2 fantastic wins in April. 2 fantastic wins against Wolves and Leicester, where we scored some absolutely phenomenal goals, and the way we played our football just seemed fantastic. We were getting better and better. But the reason why it was a bit of an odd month is because we then found ourselves a man down because of a Dawson head rush against Newcastle, and then a man down. Oops, wrong one. And then a man down against. I didn't load it up. Never mind. A man down against Chelsea when the referee had a head rush because Balbuena decided to kick the ball and he got sent off for it. However, that didn't diminish our position in the league, and we were still 5th by the end of that month. Along came May. I mean, yes, the year went quickly. Along came May, the final month of 2020-21 season, and kind of Champions League was sort of within our midst. You know, we were kind of really hoping, but we didn't. It wasn't such a great month. We had our bogey team, of course. You know, the Brighton. Yet again, we were losing to Brighton near the end of the game, and apart from a stunning goal from Saeed Benrahma to sort of give us a draw there, and against Burnley in that month, you know, Antonio was out injured, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, he turned up and scored a brace against Burnley in our away win against them. Now it was because of the up and down, you know, losing against Newcastle, etc. We kind of dropped a few places, and near the end of the last 2 games to go, we were in 7th place. We could secure 6th place, and we did that with aplomb. We beat West Brom, and then we were at home to Southampton. And I'm going to bring on my next guest now to talk about that game against Southampton, because it was the first game that fans could go back in. You know, we did have the Man United a few months earlier, but there's only 2,000 fans for that game. But it was the first game where we actually had 10,000 fans. Don't forget, this was all in lockdown. And then the last game of the season of the 2020-21 season was when we had fans back in, and 10,000 fans. I was lucky enough to be one of them. And my next guest, you all know him. He doesn't need an introduction, was also there. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah, your time's up, mate. Schedule's running over.
Is it really? Well, given that I don't have a schedule, there.
Well, you put a schedule up after the watershed, bringing Jake on. Dear, I do.
I had to do it, mate. I had to bring Jake on because he had to go to bed, the poor kid.
Go to bed. It's a bank holiday tomorrow.
Well, you know, I thought that too, but I'm not his parents. So there you go.
This old man needs to have a look at himself.
How are you? By the way, go on, give it a little plug. You already have done.
No, just planting the seed.
Planting the seed. People, look out for a new website coming up with Mr. Khan, KA, not KH, because he doesn't like that. It will be a website called 6foot2.com, I'm guessing. Maybe. Oh, you just put it there for the sake of it. Right, mate. Talk us through the last game of last season and why it's so significant for you as your highlight for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they only allowed 10,000 people in. It had been the first season since 1977 where I hadn't been, well, since probably before then, but definitely since 1977 that I hadn't at least been to one game. Obviously, everyone was locked out, so to get, you know, picked in the ballot, to get a seat, just to be at the game, no matter what the result, and to celebrate, you know, what was the best season that West Ham had had in the Premier League. It was just fantastic, you know, to see all you lot when we hadn't seen each other for a year. So, you know, we were all in the supporters club having a drink before or after. You know, it was just a whole great day, wasn't it? Realistically,
yeah.
The result actually was even better, perhaps, than what we thought. In a way, you know, we dispatched Southampton, took the 6th spot, straight into the Europa League. You know, group stages as well, no pre-qualification, and you know, I couldn't really have asked for much more. to get back. Even the 10,000 fans made a great amount of noise, as much as we could.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And as you said, the result, I mean, we were kind of more or less secured 6th place, weren't we, by then? I can't, I've been looking at the stats. I've been looking at so many stats today. I don't think the result, even if we only got a draw, would have mattered. I think we kind of because I think we were above Spurs by 3 points, but we had a far superior goal difference.
Our goal difference was far superior. So,
yeah,
I mean, they weren't, it would have took us to get a tank in and then to, tank whoever they were playing for it to swap around. In the end of the day, it didn't matter, did it? As I said, for me, it was just a case of finally getting back to going football, some normality.
It was, I mean,
you like that picture, didn't you?
I do, mate. I do, yeah. And I was actually going to put it up, but thank you for sending it to me, so it saved me looking for it. But I mean, I don't want to get all emotional, but it was an emotional day, wasn't it? It was like, when you think about it, when you think how long we've been in lockdown for, and not really knowing whether, how long this whole thing was gonna last for, and not knowing when to get back to football. I think you're right. That quite poignant, the fact that it was the last game of the season in our best season so far, and to actually be there and celebrate with the players at the end of the game was just. It did feel a little bit.
I mean, the fact is, Lingard, will be a hero at the club, whatever he does next for that 6 months. I think he did kick us on. It's possible without him that we might have finished 10th, 11th. So for what he'd done now, I think that the fans will always like him and have some type of affection for him. I'm not saying he's going to be a club legend or anything, but I just think it was good for him to see fans as well, because of course he'd never played in front of West Ham fans. So the only time we'd had fans in was against Man United, that we'd lost with 3,000 fans, and that was before Lingard joined. And then the second lockdown come January, and that was it. So no one in till May. So it was just, as I say, it was like a window back to normality for life, not just for football.
Yeah.
And I suppose for me, that was, because it's obviously a year review, not a season review. That was the moment for me of getting back to some normality in 2021.
I mean, you were even happy to see Sean that day as well. I mean, we took a photo together.
Every cloud's got a silver, or every silver lining's got a cloud.
Got a cloud, usually Sean. No, but because it's interesting, because when I was asking people, what was your highlight, that for me was a highlight, because I just remember getting ready on the day, because I hadn't gotten ready to go to a game for so long. And I just remember, getting up, and my other half was saying, "You sure you want to go because of COVID and all that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm dead sure. I'm dead sure I want to go." And it was good to sort of hear that one or two people that I knew, like probably the same as you, were going to go, because even though we were in there, and I was on the other side of the stadium to my usual seat. And I didn't know anyone, but then I don't think anyone did know anyone, because you were kind of scattered around.
Well, I was up where you should have been, so you was up where I should have been, and I was up the Bobby Moore end, and I'm normally up.
You were up the Bobby Moore end, exactly, yeah. And it kind of like there was a point where you just felt, I'm glad I'm here, but I wish others were as well. Because I remember standing there and thinking, I can't celebrate this. I was literally standing on my own. There was the nearest person to me was like 20 seats away. I didn't know anyone. And it kind of felt like I was pleased being there, but at the same time, it felt quite sad that we couldn't celebrate it with other people do you know what I mean? That sort of double-edged,
Funny enough, I thought yesterday what Palace did was quite poignant, because at the Southampton game, there was someone that not there, because I found out he passed away. Not through COVID, though, strangely enough, through a separate illness. And he used to sit behind me. I'd known him for a few years. And it was, when you go back like that, you do think of the people not there. And it weren't just, there was 40,000 season ticket holders missing. There were people that had been through and passed on. So it was good to be there to think about them as well.
Yeah, it was quite a good thing that they did yesterday. For people that aren't aware what we're talking about, before the game started, Crystal Palace put on their screen all the people, all the fans, etc., that have passed away, or people associated with the club that have passed away over 2021, and it was a really, really good thing that they did. Nigel, I'm going to ask you the same question. I mean, I know the answer, and you've just said it yourself, that our best season for many a year.
Yeah.
And are we progressing? And I
No.
know this. No, we're shit, really, aren't we?
Well, do you know what? I am, I only admit I'm a dinosaur. Yeah. Luke sort of alluded it with the old school breed and with the perceptions of what the fans now want to what the older bracket want. And there is, I'm not bothered about Premier League position. To be honest, obviously, what I want to do is I want to watch a good game of football, first and foremost. Secondly, then West Ham win that good game of football. And thirdly, if you win more games of football, playing well, scoring goals, B, we're having fun, C, we're going to be up the league. Mm-hmm. When I there's a lot of, I still see negativity when people, after every game, even after yesterday, I enjoyed the Palace comeback in a way because
we didn't.
It makes the ride even better when the whistle blows. And I said that in a group chat.
Yeah, it's true.
Just imagine how we're going to feel when that whistle blows and we've won it.
Yeah.
The game was still going on. That was a bleep before the second goal. But at the end of the day, because we've been there too many times where we have capitulated and everything else. And I just think that, we're on an up. And it's a strange way because when you look at the squad, most of it predates Moyes.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I put that stat up. I put that thing up earlier. That the first game he took charge. Let me see if I can get it back up again. Look at the players that he inherited.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, there's a lot of players there that Fornals, Allaire, Declan, Creswell, Ogbonna, all these players, there are quite a lot of players, and even players on the bench, Noble, Lanzini, Yarmolenko, Snodgrass at the time, Balbuena, etc. I mean, he had a lot of players that he was still dealing with from the previous era, didn't he?
Well, eras, because what you got to look, if you look at it, Ogbonna and Creswell, Allardyce signings.
Yeah.
Then Bilic can take Lanzini and Antonio. Fabianski's Pellegrini, Fornals Pellegrini. So there's a lot. Declan Rice was a youth player or coming through the ranks when Bilic was there. Made his debut in the first season under Bilic, last game of the season away at Burnley. So, there's a lot of players that predate Moyes, and it's sort of part of my argument why, drag people down that road, why I can still say the stadium has not brought us to this position. Actually, it's the manager, because a lot of those players have been at the club a long time or were brought by other managers. But what he's done is he's took them, this hodgepodge. Because if you look at the two players that we've bought that you would say belong to that stadium, and that's Anderson and Haller, because they're the two record buys, 36 million, 42 million. They're not at the club anymore. Mm. So if you look at the likes of Bowen that we brought in, Souček that we brought in, transfer fees that you probably could afford playing at Upton Park. But do you see what I mean? So he's come in and he's gelled this team together, added in the players that he's seen. This coming transfer window, I don't expect, because January is never a time when you're going to go out and really strengthen. That's a time for desperation stakes. The mad thing with Moyes is that the first 6 months he was here, we fought relegation. He goes away, he comes back, we fight relegation. First full season, we qualify for Europe. He's matching it again. We've had either feast or famine. We've not had, like what Aston Villa are doing or what sort of Brentford are doing. We've not had that. We've either been desperate or having a good time. And the thing I've always wanted is we never concentrated on the cups because we had to stay in the Premier League. Well, guess what? We've got enough points now, near enough. So we can concentrate on the cups. So why not? All we've ever won in our history is cups. Let's go after it. Yes, if you look at it on paper, I think the Europa League's a difficult trophy to win now because the calibre of the teams.
The calibre of the teams coming through.
And that's the problem. It's going to be great. And because I really hope that we do get drawn up against a Barcelona or a Dortmund or an Eintracht Frankfurt. You may be hoping for Olympiacos. I don't know. But
I'm hoping for somewhere warm so I can go abroad.
Well, not Cyprus, because my mate's in Cyprus. He's been warmer here. He's coming home tomorrow. So, that's what, I suppose because as a kid, I was brought up, I went to, cup finals, League Cup finals, Charity Shield, stuff like that, trips to Wembley. Not in some Mickey Mouse Losers Cup that we needed to get promoted by. A proper trip to Wembley for a proper trophy. And let's hope we're all doing a live show from Seville in May.
Oh, mate. So I keep saying it and I'll repeat it because I'm shameless. It is the day of my 60th birthday, the cup final, the Europa League
younger
final.
than you look.
I'll be there because we're going and we'll be there. West Ham will be there. We'll get a ticket. I know you bloody well will.
Well, I was gutted because I should have been at the game yesterday, and I had some family things to attend to. And do you know what? I made a schoolboy error.
Go on.
Didn't look at the kickoff time.
Oh, so you could have made it.
I thought it was 3 o'clock kickoff.
Oh, you know what? I thought that too until the morning the night before.
Yeah.
The night before, I thought I'll double check because the other half was going, "What are you doing? You're not going to football." I said, "I am going to football." "Oh, what, on New Year's Day? We got things to do." And I went, "Yeah, well, sorry, I'll be gone by midday." And then and I looked at it and it was like, "Oh, kicks off at 5:30."
Yeah, I didn't know until I got home and put the telly on at 2:45 and couldn't find the West Ham game.
Oh, Nigel. Oh dear, oh
These
dear.
things happen, isn't it?
So progress for you. People, because we had the blip in December, everybody started saying it's as far as Pellegrini's going to take us, etc., etc. What's progress for you? I know what progress is for me, but what how do you see progress?
Do you know
Is
what?
it Champions League? Do we have to make Champions League this season or even next season?
Progress is measured in different ways. People look at league position. There's a good chance we can score more goals this season. Now, what you've got to look at is last season, a record season in the Premier League. Not for place though, because we had finished 5th. But last year we got 65 points, 10 more, I think, than when we finished 5th, or 8 more than when we finished 5th. We had a positive goal difference that we didn't have when we finished 5th, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we scored more goals. So if we get 2 or 3 more points, but have scored 10 or 15 more goals, but finish 7th, which is a possibility, does that make it a worse season? No, it don't. Because actually we've got more points, scored more goals. So we've had fun watching. Goals are fun, as I keep telling people. And, and so you have to measure it against that, because when you look at it, I think the finances have come out and West Ham sat 7th in gross income. Yeah. And when you look at the 6 that were in front of them, it's the usual 6. So
this is what I'm saying. When people are talking about progress is about Champions League, etc., I get that. But Moyes has repeated so many times this is still a work in progress, and a couple of other people have said it. A cup and 6 would be good. Qualifying for Europe consistently and add a cup, then we can think about Champions League. Is where I'm at.
That's greedy. A cup and 6.
No, I don't think it is. But I think I get the sentiment of that. For me, for me, progress isn't about. Great, of course it'll be fantastic to do Champions League. Of course it will be, but for me, progress is about consistently being up there in the top 6.
Well, I'll give you a little history lesson. Yeah, 1975, West Ham had just won the FA Cup. So in 1976, West Ham was sitting at top 5 in the league. Yeah, and then they went into the European Cup Winners' Cup quarterfinals, semi-finals, and got to the final. Yeah, they finished 19th. Yeah, but they got to the final of the European Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah, we beat Eintracht Frankfurt in a game regularly voted the best game ever. I weren't there; I was too young. At Upton Park under the lights. Yeah, I think that was the only game we'd won in 10.
Yeah,
it
was a poor season.
You know, well, no, but this is the thing. It weren't a poor season because actually the start was what the same type of start we've had now. Now, you know, when people talk about the next level, I can bring you league tables of West Ham in January sitting 3rd and 4th. Yeah, but the Christmas declarations come down and so did West Ham, and that was the old joke. So actually, progress, I think if we finish 7th, financially, 5+ Spurs blow everyone else out of the water. So actually, if we finish 7th, we're the best of the other 14. Because that's what it is. There's 6 clubs or 5+ Spurs, and then there's 14 other. And if we can finish 7th, we're the best of the rest. If we can keep doing that, then like last season, one of them will slip up, fall away, and we can jump in and nick it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't think we'll get top 4 because I think Arsenal have got their act together. You can see that the way they played against Man City. So you had Arsenal there. I don't know about Man United with Rangnick, and Spurs against Conte look like they're scraping themselves, you know. So when you look at the games in hand, the 2 teams below us they've got 2 games in hand over us. If you know they get 3 or 4 points in them, they're both above us.
Yeah, they go above Spurs, Arsenal as well.
Yeah. So we'll sit 7th. That ain't a bad place for West Ham to be. Top of the other 14.
I see us, you know, if we start regularly competing with the likes of Arsenal and Spurs for that 4th, 5th, 6th spot, you know, because Man U sooner or later are going to get their shit together. Sooner or later, you know, you kind of expect it, don't you? Because Liverpool have, and Man City have, and Chelsea have, etc. So on a regular basis, unless they fall away dramatically, those 3 teams are always going to be in the top 3 spots.
But if you look at the history of the Premier League, just say the history of the Premier League, there's been teams that have hovered around when it was top 3, 4th, 5th, 6th. Aston Villa for about 2 or 3 years sat around 4th spot when it was top 3 that went Champions League. Never. They won a League Cup, but never managed to break through, even under Martin O'Neill. They would sit 5th or 6th regular. Everton, under Moyes, sneaked in 4th once. Knocked on the door, but never pushed through. Regularly finished 5th. Recent times, look at Leicester. Yeah. Now, in our lifetime, or in Premier League area, Leicester's now won every trophy they can win. They've won the League Cup in the 1990s. They've now won the Premier League. They've won the FA Cup and the Charity Shield. So, but look at them this season, fell away. And they've not done that well in Europe either, did they? So
no, not at all.
It's hard. And sometimes people think I'm a bit bonkers or I'm too negative or whatever. What I'm trying to do is condition people to say, at some point, we will fall down that table. At some point, someone will spend more money than us, to get past us. But what they will find is they will only get that 6th or 5th, spot. You know, it's a cartel at the top of the Premier League. It is, and it will always remain so. And and that's why I go. Let's get enough. We've got enough points on the board. Let's chase a cup.
Yeah, be nice to get a cup. A few people have been saying in the chat as well. Mate,
but don't listen to Johnny Osborne because he knows jack shit.
I met him yesterday. Apparently, he was starstruck. There you go.
Oh, was he? Yeah, he ain't met me yet.
Well, yeah, I have, and trust me, I weren't starstruck. Listen, go in the background if you fancy coming on a bit later on. I've got Russ in the background as well, because we
No,
might
I'm off
not
to
have.
watch Kerrang.
You ought to watch what?
Off to watch Kerrang. It's of the 90s.
Kerrang.
Ed Banging's one.
Oh, for God's sake, mate! Fuck it. Sometimes you do.
Even that,
surprise
I've got to get the high score on my Pac-Man machine because the
Get,
kids have
get,
beat me.
get the high score on the Pac-Man. I'll watch you do that in the background, and you can probably come on later and help us finish off the show. All right?
Oh, mate.
Fuck
See you later.
Kerrang. See you later. Thanks for that, mate. So we finished the end of the season. We finished 6th in the league. Europa League beckoned, and we didn't really have long. We had some sort of tournament in between, and the best England player that we currently have was in that tournament. Got to the final apparently. I don't know what it was, but yeah, not worth talking about because we didn't win it. So there you go. But the season, before we knew it, the new season started off again, and we did a couple of things in the transfer window. I think the biggest name that kind of left us in the August transfer window was Anderson, of course, if you call him. Well, it was an expensive name that left us and left us for nothing. And we did our business. Alphonse Areola, Kurt Zuma, who young Jake has just talked about, Alex Kral and Nikola Vlasic all came in. Now, we haven't seen much of these players, have we? Areola, the debate still goes on about, whether he should be first team choice or should it continue to be Fabianski. That's going to carry on till the end of the season, I reckon. Alex Kral, well, we know we might have seen a bit more of him had he not caught COVID, and he's coming back, and people are suggesting that it wasn't a great signing, etc. Nikola Vlasic, he's come in, he's begun. It's interesting how Moyes gets his players ready, isn't it? Because we're going to lose Saeed Benrahma now to the AFCON. We don't know what's going to happen in the transfer window. There's no updated news about transfers, etc. So Vlasic, he's been given a little bit more game time, got his goal the other day, good for him. And, he's getting ready, isn't he? Moyes is preparing him for a bit more and more and more game time in the Premier League. But of course, our star signing, no doubt, without a doubt, was Kurt Zuma, who I said has been discussed by young Jake already. 27 million pound player. He's been a rock, and we've missed him. We've missed him and Ogbonna in defence over the last month or so. And there's talk about him hopefully coming back at the end of January, beginning of February, if the rumours are to be believed. We can't guarantee that until we know otherwise. But he has been a rock. So we did some business, and we still haven't got that elusive striker, and we're all kind of hoping, I guess, that that's what's going to happen in this January transfer window. I guess we'll see. But the new season started. It started with aplomb, and I was there for the Newcastle game, first game of the season, and it didn't start very well. We went a goal down in a very early in the game, but boy, oh boy, West Ham United in the summer was just superb. I mean, we came back and we smashed. And when I would use the word smash, I don't want to use it sort of flippantly, but in all honesty, we smashed Newcastle United on the first game back of the season, and it kind of went on from there. We also saw the next game was against Leicester. 4-1 thumping. We drew against Palace, as we usually do, unless we beat them at their own ground. So it was a good start. And then September came with another Premier League draw away to Southampton. And then up came the Europa League and our first game in Europe. We went away, the novices in Europe, against a team that, to be really honest with you, I kind of dab hands at Europe. They've been in the Champions League, Europa League, Dinamo Zagreb. We kind of didn't know what to expect. We went there and we beat them. I don't want to say easy, but boy, oh boy, was it a great start to our European campaign. Back in the Premier League, we had Man United 2 games in a row, one in the league, one in the cup, and of course it had to happen, didn't it? Mr. Lingard came back and haunted us. He scored the winning goal, and it was like you could see, he's a Man U boy, and he kind of did want to celebrate, but at the same time, he was very respectful to the West Ham fans. He didn't jump about, even though Cristiano Ronaldo was kind of goading him to celebrate, he kind of, stood his ground and celebrated very modestly. Right then, was our first European game at home. And I'm bringing on my next guest. I don't think he needs any introduction. I think he's probably fallen asleep in the background. But I'll bring him on because this is his highlight of 2021. Hello, mate.
Sorry, I was watching Cobra Kai. Sorry.
Why don't you just all do something different and forget that I've even got a show?
I know in the background.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, man? Happy New Year to you, mate.
Happy New Year to you as well. First Europa League game at home.
Yes.
Which is what you want to discuss.
Yeah, that's my highlight. Yeah, it was, and I'll tell you why, because it was like, obviously you've spoken to Nigel and Luke and Jake and John about, the great season and everything, and obviously the stadium move and all that stuff, and for the first time for many years we were in the Europa League properly. We weren't qualifying. We didn't have to lose to Astragugu or these teams. We was in there properly on our own right, and it was really weird because obviously I'm there 4 hours before the game, so I turn up and everything's basically embossed and emblazed with the Europa League logo. And you walked up, and you showed the thing of the Zagreb game away, but on our screen we had like the Europa League logo, and it was just like, fucking hell. Yeah, exactly. It was like, fucking hell. Jeez. And then we had the light shows, and we had the all the stuff, and I know Nigel loves the light shows. But I can see you play fucking Pac-Man in the back.
He's playing Pac-Man in the background. Yeah, exactly.
But that's, and for the first time, probably for a lot of people, for the in 5 or 6 years since we moved, I can see why we moved. It was like wow, and I know, necessarily the players and as Nigel was saying, I agree with him that, but it was like, wow, this is, we are another level now. It seems now we're on a different sort of kill to where we were pre-Moyes, as you said, with Pellegrini and stuff like that, not chasing 40 points. We were like, shit, we're playing, and we're winning, and we're playing really well, and we're beating these teams. And it was, things like seeing away fans from European countries and stuff. And we know how much fun the Rapid Vienna, they were all very fun. They were all fun in their own ways, with various things being thrown, or even very few people there, like the Zagreb one. About 25 people turned up, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And it was a real goosebumpy moment, and it wasn't. I mean, Europa League has their own music. It's called Anticipation. It's not quite the champions, but it will be soon. And I will be playing that soon at London Stadium one day before I retire. But it was the next best thing. It was the next best thing. And it was just riding on the crest of the wave, to be honest. I loved it. Absolutely loved that game.
And where does it take us now, Russ? I mean, we've got a taste of it. And the taste of being in Europe, people want it. And as you've just alluded to, people are talking about next steps, progress, etc. It's got to be Champions League. How realistic is that? WHU has asked a question here, which is kind of similar to what I've been asking all the guests, etc. What would your idea of success be for the end of this season? Mine would be to make Europa League final and 7th or above in the Premier League. That's reasonable, isn't it?
That's a pretty epic season, isn't it? Really, I think for us, I think it is about, and we said it. You said it before with Nigel as well. I'm not necessarily. I mean, I'd love to see West Ham win a cup, but a cup is very much luck of the draw. It's luck of the draw, isn't it? Really,
it is.
And so you can't really exactly. It's a luck of the draw. So we were unlucky in that. We're unlucky or lucky. We obviously had City, we had Man United and City and Spurs. Last year in the FA Cup we had Colt, and that was Stockport. Then we had Doncaster. So if you're lucky, you get a few rounds in. You're sort of. It's a luck of the draw. Whereas I think for us, it's league position, and regularly, consistently being in Europe. Maybe not every year, because I'm not being funny. I think last year was a bit of a funny year as well. Obviously behind locked doors for the vast majority of it. Some teams performed better than others. I think now you're starting to see a levelling out of teams. City obviously running away, Liverpool up there, just and we're sort of, I'd say in all realism, we're bottom of that top league. I'd say, you know, we're never going to win the title. Not at the moment, where we are standing. So I think, you know, consistently finishing Europe, you know, not having to worry about 40 points. I know we all laugh about it, you know, 4 points to go, 6 points to go, but not even having that in our zeitgeist, you know. I think, you know, minimum of getting into the Europa League, Europa Conference League every season, because I think that should be where we should be aiming, at least. But consistently appearing in there, and then do what Everton did with under Moyes. You know, they had several years where they were getting into the Europa League, getting the money in, building the profile of the club. You know, last year, you know, I know we're not going to do transfer or anything, but Tarkowski and Kletikar, these guys didn't even want to hear about us. Now, it's 12 months later, we're in Europe and we're in an attractive club and there's a real buzz around the place. So I think, I'll be happy this year for, I think, you know, European qualification, however that is this season, whether it's winning the Europa League, whether it is winning the FA Cup, whether it is finishing in the Europa League spots. That's for me.
I mean, because we had such an awful December, and it was awful.
Yeah.
I think we won 2 games, I think, didn't we?
Yeah.
The one at the start and the one at the end.
Yep.
And people were starting to get, you know, like frustrated and so on and so forth. And I tried to put it in context, and I said, like, imagine if we just, you know, instead of having a whole bad month,
we said,
you know,
when we saw the other day when I saw it,
that was dispersed over the whole season, and we're currently sitting at the end of the calendar year where we are. People would be going, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it was also concentrated that all of a sudden we like, and all this stuff about we're massive and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And people are starting to suggest this is as far as Moyes can take us. Can David Moyes? I mean, for me, as I said earlier, when I was speaking to the other lads, for me, progress is about staying where we are for the next few seasons, not yo-yoing, you know, because as Nigel alluded to, you know, we had a good season, then like we won a cup or whatever, and then we were down at the bottom. You know, look under Bilic, you know, we had a great season, then we were fighting relegation the following season and so on. Isn't progress for West Ham United, a club like West Ham United, to be regularly in the top 6, top 7?
I'd say, to be honest, I'd say probably top 8. Honestly, top 8 for us. I think consistently. I mean, you know, you look at it. We always had throughout sort of the last, as long as I can remember, we'd have one good season in about 4 or 5. You know, one good season about 4 or 5. A really good season, and then shit, or we go down. And a really good season, and after, you know, since obviously last season, the decent season we had before then was probably the last season at the Bowling. So it was a 5-year. So for me, consistency is having 3 or 4 seasons, or 5, 6, 10 seasons where we're finishing in the top 8. Thank you very much to Don Forever Football. Don
really
Costa
appreciate
Rovers.
that. Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll give it to John at the food banks. And so, you know, for me, it's about that consistency now. It's not about looking behind us, but looking ahead of us. You know, being in that first page of the Premier League table on the BBC website. I don't want to have to scroll. The only time I want to scroll down to the bottom is in the summer, when obviously the new league table comes out and we're second from bottom.
Yeah,
because obviously Wolves. So, you know, that's fine for me. And I'm saying with Nigel, I like to see us scoring goals, playing good football. You know, we all moaned when we finished 10th and had consistently 10th under Sam Allardyce because the football wasn't great.
Because the football was turgid.
It was, but we didn't go down, did we? So, you know,
we didn't go down.
So it's like a balancing act. So, but I think in the stadium now, that, you know, you want to have good football. You know, and we've spoken about the Liverpool game and the Chelsea game, and the atmosphere the last couple of those big games and the European nights has just been incredible. And that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to turn up to have a smile on my face and want to watch the football rather than being a chore.
Yeah, and then we want the little scares that we had against Palace, where we go 3-0 up, and
keeps the blood pumping.
It keeps it. I was doing
the watch along. I was doing the watch along like that for the last 5 minutes of the game.
Well, the irony, mate. We was like, at half time, we were all in the crowd going, "How on earth are we 3-0 up?"
Yeah, I said the same
to Anton. How on earth are we 3-0 up? Yeah. And then we were kind of having a laugh, and we were bantering with the home fans and all that sort of stuff. And then they got a goal back, and we went, you know, so what? And then when they got the second goal back, all of a sudden everybody started talking about the Antonio cross. A couple of seasons before, where we were winning, and he crossed the ball straight to the keeper, who threw it out to Zaha, and he scored a late winner.
Yep.
And we were like, oh, and then the overhead kick, and it was like
last year, three games in a row. Last year, wasn't it? 3-0. Obviously, we had the 3-0 against Arsenal where we scored 2 own goals. Aubameyang scored. Was it Wolves? We were 3-0 up away to Wolves, and
we almost
3-2.
almost 3.
It was like 2 or 3 times in a row that happened. So, but yeah, no, but again, that sort of just keeps that little our feet on the ground. Our feet on the ground, we're not, and I think there's been a lot of criticism on, so we've said it as well. People on the bandwagon, Moyes, out that crap and stuff like that. But the thing is, we've set our bar at this level now, so it's a bar now. So it's the team. The team have played so well that if we'd lost 3-2 to Southampton 18 months ago, 24 months ago, and it was 3-2, I'm quite unlucky there, but.
Yeah.
Now
we're disappointed.
Exactly, we're disappointed if we've just lost 2-1 to Man City away rather than beat them.
Victor asks a good question. Can any manager take us any further? Unless we dip into the market again and go for another big name again.
I don't necessarily think. But I think it's where I think there's only one team can win the Premier League every year. And to be honest, most of the time it is only one team. It's the same team that win the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea, they people thought there might have been a potential. They've fallen a bit by the wayside, and City have just ploughed on. They're just a machine. That I was reading an article today about Pep Guardiola turning the Premier League into the Bundesliga, like they do at Bayern Munich, and it's just like that. They're pretty much going to be up there 1 or 2. It's going to take an absolute. Newcastle amounts of money to do that. Really, I don't think it's not the manager; it's the infrastructure, and we're building it up. But for us, I think we need to know our place a little bit. And we have aspirations, but I don't think I'd ever see West Ham win the Premier League in my lifetime. I just don't think it will happen. I just personally, but that's
never
just
know, though.
Never know. You never know. Blackburn won it, didn't they?
Blackburn did it. Leicester did it.
Yeah.
And I go back even further back. Nottingham Forest, the unfancied Nottingham Forest under Clough. They won the European Cup. So it can happen. These unfancied teams every once in a while, but it might only be the once, though, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, it might be the once. But but it's what I see now is progress, but also progress on the pitch, but progress sort of behind closed doors, so to speak. So things like Rob Newman coming in, and that's progress. The fact that we have a head of recruitment, we'll find out what happens in the next 28 days about that, but that recruitment and analytics and the coaching staff, and that's progress as well.
Absolutely. Right, mate, thank you very much. Much appreciated. If you stay in the background, we'll finish off with you, me and Nigel at the end of the show, if you're up for that.
I've got to go and take Flo to bed. It's 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay, mate. Okay, well,
I'm getting the eyes.
No worry. Thank you for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
Love you. Bye. Happy New Year. Bye.
So there we are. Oh, there you go. So let's move on, because we got not far away from bringing us up to date with the season review. Or no, not the season review, the annual review. By the way, people, thank you all for any new people that have joined. Much appreciated. There's a lot of you that are members of West Ham Network, and you might have found that your membership's gone. Now, if you remember, we did put a notification out just about a week or so ago, saying that we were changing the membership schemes, because we had 4 or 5 levels, and got rid of all those. So we're now down to only 2. So if you find that you may have got a notification that you're no longer a member, or to invite you to become a member, please, if you want to, of course, we've changed the membership structure. There's only two easy ones. Go into, there's a button saying join as you're watching on YouTube, and click on that, become a member. And we'll love you for it, and thank you so much, and all that sort of stuff. There are perks and stuff like that. You get a day out with Russ, apparently, is one of the perks. No, you don't. But if you want to become a member, you might have seen that your membership has gone, so you may have to rejoin again. So if that's happened to you, you will get a refund if you've only halfway through the December. If you only joined halfway through December, so thank you, Howard, much appreciated. So yes, please do that, and that will help the channel a little bit. So let's move on, because we're now sort of going into a bit further into the new season. So we've done the first home game, European home game. And then we had a defeat against Brentford, but our best was yet to come, wasn't it? Because then we had a game, for anyone that was there, the game against Man City. the League Cup game against Man City at home was such a fantastic feeling. You know, we played against probably the best team in Europe at the moment. We held them. You know, not only did we hold our own, but we also, you know, we tried to go at them as well. You know, we weren't walkovers, and you know, we got through on penalties, and the buzz in the stadium was just immense that evening. Fantastic. By the end of October, we were top of our Europa League group. And we were through to the quarterfinals of the League Cup, and we were sitting fourth in the Premier League, people. Our other two Europa games in November rubber stamped our progress into the knockout stages of the competition, leaving us just the one game in hand to be able to experiment with youngsters for the game in December. And then, of course, came another famous victory, didn't it? The game against Liverpool. It's already been talked about by some of the others. That game, yet again, the atmosphere at the stadium was just immense. And I know the international break came at the wrong time for us, and things kind of went a little bit downhill. But another day out at the stadium, beating Liverpool the way we did, it was just fantastic. Kurt Zouma scoring the winning goal. And it was just an amazing feeling to be part of the crowd to see that happen. Now we had the international break, and we all know what happened. Mikel Antonio was specially flown back on Sullivan's private jet. Not that that did much difference for his performances or for the rest of the team, to be honest. Our first game back after the international break was a really, really poor performance against Wolves, where we lost 1-0. Then there was that gutsy performance again against Man City in the league, where we not only had to probably play one, you know, we had to play in really bad snowy weather conditions, but we lost that game marginally. But by the end of November, we were still hanging on to fourth place. And then there was one more incident in November that kind of may have passed one or two of you by. Yes, of course. Mr. Daniel Kretinsky confirmed his 27% stake in West Ham United. Now, people were beginning to go, yes, just in time for the transfer window. He's going to invest a whole load of money. And, well, we don't know what's going to happen, do we? The January window's now open. We are kind of hoping that there's going to be a few funds available to buy players. But Mr. Kretinsky is it's quite a poignant statement that's been made by the club and by this person about West Ham and where we want West Ham to go for the future. You know, we all know about him. I'm not going to go through his stats, etc. But he's eased the burden on the debt. You know, there will be funds available, and for a man like him, you know, we know he's the owner of Sparta Prague, etc., etc. But for a man like him to look at West Ham United and say they're worth investing, he's a businessman. He's going to make his money, but nonetheless, you know, for a man like him to come in and invest in West Ham United, it's quite a statement. And quite a big deal for the club, and quite a big move in 2021. Even though it's an off the pitch move, nonetheless, it's quite a significant move by him. Now, I was going to have another guest on tonight, but unfortunately, he's not available because he was going to talk about, you know, after having a bit of a lull, about the Chelsea win. Now, you know, we had some down moments. I know we were knocked out. Sorry, about the Chelsea win, and unfortunately, Alf is not around at the moment, so we can't talk to him about it. But the Chelsea win, just like the Liverpool game at home, another phenomenal day out at the London Stadium, and we deserved the win. You know, I know it was a fluke goal. I don't care, and I know it was Masuaku who scored it. I don't even care about that either. The fact that we scored and the whole atmosphere, the crowd were up for it. You know, the fans, you know, everyone that was involved was so up for that game. It was quite a special game, quite a special game. Okay, look, we've had some down moments in the final stages of this of 2021. We've been knocked out of the League Cup, but again, a brilliant performance against Spurs. It was, even though we went out of that game. We had poor performances against Burnley, Arsenal, and Southampton, which kind of saw us lose some ground on fourth position. But you know, when you've got almost all of your backline out injured or through suspension or injury or whatever it is, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer, and we have suffered a little bit. But still, we rounded off 2021 with the following stats. Let me bring those stats back up again for you to see. Bear with me. Probably going to get the wrong one, but there you go. Here we go. These are the stats of 2021, just to remind you. We played 41 games, 122. This is the Premier League, by the way. That doesn't include cup competitions and all that stuff. Played 41 games, 122, drew 7, lost 12, 73 points in the league, scored 73 goals, and a plus goal difference of 23. Plus 23. We haven't had a good goal difference like that for a long time. Probably not even under Allardyce, who was quite frugal with how many goals he let his team score against us. Under Bilic, it wasn't good. It was on a downwards path already from there. Under Bilic, under Pellegrini, etc., etc. Plus 23 at the end of 2021. It's been a phenomenal year. We've got the youngest player at West Ham to have reached 150 league games in Declan Rice. Moyes equalled his 10th New Year's Day win on New Year's Day against Crystal Palace. And the only other two Premier League managers that did that were Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. It's been the most fantastic of years, and 2022 has started off in style. Well, almost ruined it with our 3-2 win against Crystal Palace. Now, I've been thinking about what my favourite moment has been, and it's been quite difficult, to be honest with you. Nigel spoke about one of my favourite moments, which was going back to the stadium for the Southampton game at the end of last season. But I've got to say, it's the fans, in all honesty, and I know that sounds really corny, but I mean it not only for away games, because the away fans, I mean, I tell you, absolutely immense, you know. And I know there's a few people in the audience that have been to away games. Kent Hammer's, away games, and one or two other people as well. But also the fans at the home stadium. People have been asking ever since we moved away from the Boleyn, are we ever going to have the same atmosphere again? Are we ever going to see that sort of atmosphere? This season, we have had some immense atmospheres at home against Spurs, against City in the Cup game, against Liverpool when we won, against Chelsea, etc. The crowd, the noise, that's what's actually made this, 2021 even better. And I tell you, it will continue to get better when the team performs on the pitch. Even if we lose, if we put in a performance, the West Ham fans have always been that sort of fan where you get behind your team and you applaud them if they Nigel will know, there was a game in the years ago where we kind of lost something like 6-0, 7-0, and we were applauding the players off the pitch, not because we lost 6 or 7-0, but because they put in the effort. And that's what we love. We love the effort. And when that happens, the crowd get involved, the crowd get behind the team. And it's been, hang on a second, I just got to get rid of this idiot. Where's he gone? There you go. Thank you and bye-bye. When the team plays well, the crowd get behind the team, and the atmosphere has been electric at the London Stadium. And long may it rain. Long may it rain. That's it. That's our review. I'm going to bring Nigel back on for a final chat. Before we do that, let's do a few more comments. John, unsung hero of the year, Stel. For me, it's Dawson, brought in out of the cold at Watford on loan, then bought for peanuts. We know his capabilities, but he rarely downs tools. But I was getting a little bit frustrated with him. And actually, let's bring Nigel in on this as well. I was getting a little bit frustrated with him at the end of last season. He was making a few errors. He's made 1 or 2 as well. But yeah, for a £2.5 million defender, what can you ask for?
What do you want
unsung
for 3
hero
million?
for you?
What do you want for 3 million? Dear.
Unsung hero for you?
Definitely. I think so, yeah.
Oh, Dawson as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's a not a fantastic player. It don't work. I think what Jake said was it don't work with him and Diop. You've either got to have Ogbonna you've either got to have Ogbonna and Zuma with either Dawson or Diop. But then they were playing central defender rated 3 and 4 together. So it shows.
It does. It absolutely does. Adam Cook, beat Arsenal at the end of the season. Champions League could well be on. Dude, how do you feel? I mean, let's dream.
I don't dream.
It's in our song. Or even though we do say fade and die. It's still possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it is, isn't it? I mean, I know not just mathematically, but I mean, it's really interesting because a lot of fans have been going, "Oh, the only reason why we're still up there is because other teams around us have been doing badly." Mate, you're there on merit, aren't you? You know, you got to win the games you play.
At this position in the season, you've played everyone. Yeah. So we've all played everyone once. So the difference between this season and last season is last season we lost against the fives, yeah, but beat every other club around us, which West Ham had never done. This season's more like West Ham of old. We'd lose or draw to the crap, but we're beating the top teams. I mean, we beat Man United in the cup, knocked Man City out on penalties. You know, we've beat Leicester, who were top 5 last season, smashed them off the park. We beat Spurs. You know, I think it's only Arsenal.
Yeah. They're the ones to come. Yeah, they're the ones to come.
You know, and that was a bit of the scoreline 2-0 flattered Arsenal.
I think it did. Well, you know, I mean, we can talk about the sending off and all that sort of stuff and would it have made a difference and so on. It might have
lost
done.
the game, but
yeah.
But so, you know, when you look at it, and perhaps I can see why some fans are frustrated, because how can you beat Liverpool and Chelsea
and then lose again?
0-0 to Burnley, lose 1-0 to Wolves,
lose to Brentford and stuff like that. Yeah.
Southampton, you know.
Yeah. Question here: will Rice become a legend? Oh, by the way, Scott, when you do come over, mate, do let us know in 2020. I know it's another year; we've got a whole year to wait, but we'll wait for you, and we'll arrange to meet you. Nigel will take you for a tour around East London. Will Rice become a club legend like Noble? What's the realism with Rice? I mean, I know you know.
Noble a legend.
Let's not go there, Nigel.
Oh,
let's not get controversial.
You know, there's a few of us that he's a club hero. I think Rice, whether he leaves at the end of this season or not, will go down as a club legend already. I think 150 games for the club in the Premier League. You know, I think his performances have shown, and the way he's handled himself. He's, you know, the captain's armband doesn't weigh heavy on him. If anything, he's got better with it. So, for me, you know, I know it's funny what I say about Noble, but I truly do believe that, you know, he blotted his copybook a few years ago, and
he said, yeah.
You know, for me, Noble, I think, Rice is already a legend once he retires. If he goes to Man United and plays 10 years for them, you know, I think, you know, we'll love him more than we loved Rio. And we loved Rio until he started opening his mouth when he retired.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a bit disappointing, hasn't he? You know, but there you go.
He's played to the crowd, hasn't he? You know, Man United got more fans, so he tries to keep them happy than he does us.
Well, he's got a podcast to keep going, isn't he?
Well, so there you go, isn't it? It's money, isn't it?
It's money. The Smiths, mate, perfect. The Smiths 1986. As you all know, Nigel's a massive Smiths fan. Happy New Year's, Hammers. Great fan channel this always. Thank you very much. Unsung moment was Stel promoting one football. It's you getting many West Ham memories. Thank you, mate. And thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. Where do we want to leave it, Nigel? Any last thoughts before we go?
You know, try and enjoy it, people. Stop looking for negativity. I know with YouTube channels, I know we've all got content to produce, and I understand about, you know, the left-hand side looks a problem. You can look at the Palace game. They hit the post, they hit the bar. They scored 2. All 4 crosses come from the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know there's a problem there, but don't keep berating the player that's wearing the shirt. That is true, John. Just to show you how much of Got me
There you go.
Morrison t-shirt on.
There you
go. Yeah, don't keep berating the play. You know, these people putting the shirt on. We want them to play their best for us and do their best for us. And you know, there's a good chance they may pop into social media. What's Masuaku really going to think? Realistically, I've heard interviews with him, and he comes across as a lovely bloke.
Yeah, he is a lovely bloke. Pity that bloke Stel keeps slagging him off, but there you go.
No, well, no, but that's what I'm saying. So let's cut him back. But what it is sometimes when we win games like that, we go, oh, but what about this? What about that? What about saying? You know, I see people saying, you know, Jake did a video after going, oh, we were lucky. Come on. Walking out the ground.
What, against Palace?
Yeah, he did.
No, we weren't lucky. We got complacent, but we weren't lucky.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's enjoy it. Enjoy the you know, West Ham's never been this good, this consistent. You know?
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Right, that's your lot, people. Thank you all for joining me. Nigel, always a pleasure, mate. We'll chat again, I'm sure, over the next couple of days. Yeah. Really appreciate you all joining. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get through all the comments, you know, or make comment, you know, putting all the comments up, because it's been difficult. I was trying to do a chronological thing, all the images, and then bringing guests on, etc., etc., and having to stick to a schedule as well. So thank you all for joining me, Nigel. As always, a pleasure, mate. You're going to be at the game next weekend.
Yeah,
we'll meet up definitely. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for all the comments. Have a great evening. West Ham Weekly will be back tomorrow evening, Monday night. So do join me for that. Thank you all for getting involved, and we'll see you all very, very soon.